Okay.
Okay,
All right. I'm here with Randy Stahl. And Randy, what is your actual profession?
I'm a technology integration specialist with Littleton Public Schools,
Okay.
and we prefer to call it instructional technology specialist because what I do is work with teachers on integrating technology into their curriculum and their classroom practice.
Okay. And how many years have you been a professional in that field?
I've been doing technology for about 25 years.
Okay.
Spent 10 years in the math and science classroom, and then I did 10 years of private consulting with school districts across the state of Colorado on technology acquisition, professional development planning, technology implementation, and then I've been with Littleton now for the past 13 years doing this.
Okay. And how would you identify current trends and issues in the field? Describe how you would identify
I rely strongly on my own personal learning network.
them. Okay.
Um, I follow educational visionaries and authorities and experts on Twitter, on Facebook, on Google Plus. I use my RSS feeds to pull in the latest blog postings from, these quote unquote experts. And by doing that is how I keep abreast of, what the latest, rumors are, or what the latest trends seem to be, or what the latest thinking is in the educational technology arena on
Okay.
that.
And what trends are you likely to have a large impact on teaching, learning, or education over the next several years?
Well, I think from my perspective, I think there are three big areas that we're looking at. One is the connected educators. We talk about, taking kids outside the classroom, using Skype or whatever. I think we're seeing a big movement now that teachers are taking that to heart and they're starting to connect with other educators outside their building, outside their district.
Mhm.
So I think the connected educator concept is really blossoming. Um, More and more, we're talking one on one computing in classrooms, where instead of a classroom having three computers for the class, kids have their own devices.
That's right.
And, how teachers are going to respond to that situation. I know here in Littleton, probably within 3 to 5 years, we'll be a one on one district on that. And then,
Do you think it's going to close the digital divide with that?
um, if they stay at the building, no. Because the digital divide, in my opinion, is what happens between what they have at school
Mm-hmm.
and what they have at home.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in any, community, you're still going to have those parents that either don't want internet access, they don't want their kids on the internet when they get home and all of that. So I don't think it will eliminate the digital divide,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it'll put everybody on an equal footing when they're in the classroom
Okay.
on that. And then the third big trend that I see is mastery learning,
Mm-hmm.
i.e., blended classrooms, flipped classrooms, where teachers are starting to take advantages of multiple resources available to help present, enforce, reinforce, and enhance, their curricular objectives on that. So
Okay.
those are sort of the three big ones that I see coming down the pike.
Okay. And how do you see the trends impacting the decisions you make and what you do?
I think we'll start seeing, um, you know, increased professional development
Mm-hmm.
on that. Used to be back in the early 80s, it was give them a computer and they'll come.
Mm-hmm.
Now we see the importance that a computer doesn't make a difference. A teacher that's trained how to use the computer makes the difference on that. So the teacher is not out of the equation with technology, but it becomes more important to make sure the teachers are comfortable and know how to use the technology for that.
Okay.
And then we'll start seeing, the devices that are coming in just get cheaper and cheaper anymore. Used to be a laptop computer was $1,100. Now you can get a Chromebook for $299.
Yep.
So I think as the price comes down, we'll see, that have the big impact. Wouldn't surprise me that in the near future, just like some colleges, high schools, and even middle schools, their supply list is you have to have a Chromebook
Okay.
on that.
Interesting. And what emerging technologies have a large impact on teaching, learning, or education over the next several years?
Again, the lower cost devices.
Okay.
When you're giving all students that instant access, but that then also makes how the classroom looks a lot different on there.
And what factors do you consider when deciding to adopt emerging technologies for the district?
Functionality and usability.
Okay.
I'm not anti-iPad. I think the iPad is a great tool in certain situations, but we want to make sure that with these new technologies, we're not immediately eliminating some uses because of the device itself on there, which is why I think Chromebooks are great tools, because you've got the Google apps. I've been to very few sites that it won't support, whereas you get on an iPad and it doesn't support Flash. So you've got to sort of adapt what you do. So when we look at technologies and what's coming down the road, does it support what we want to get accomplished in the classroom? Totally.
What about for the primary grades with iPads or something that was tactile for them to touch, even though they might not know their letters?
Yeah.
Or
I think, in my opinion, I think the real strength of the iPad is in the pre-K to probably grade 3 range, because you're getting that tactile interaction between the kids. You're getting the immediate feedback. You're getting the glitz that they're looking for to keep them, attracted and engaged with what's going on. So I think if I were to say anything about the strength of the iPad, it's probably in the pre-K to grade 3 range.
Right. Okay. And what challenges are you likely to have a large impact on teaching, learning, or education over the next several years? What do you think is going to be a challenge for us?
It's
money.
Money is always an issue, but you really can't look at money and say, well, we can't do it because. I think what we have to do is, again, devote a lot of time to the professional development, because we've got, an institution here where at least half the teachers have been in the profession for a long time, and they're maybe not as comfortable with the technology as some of the younger teachers are. If we're to do our students any kind of justice, we've got to make sure that all teachers have that comfort level and have that, ability to use it. So I think professional development is going to be key. Making sure that we give this training and support to the teachers as we start moving more and more into this device-rich age and this, immediate information age on there. And to me, that's the real challenge, is making sure that our teachers are not the ones holding the kids back.
Right.
Because they're nervous with technology, or they don't see the value of technology or anything like that. I mean, I don't want to have a generation of teachers that are like, I've done this for 20 years and it's always worked. Well, kids today are not like they were 20 years ago on there.
Right. What are your thoughts about having a break from computers and things like that? I mean, knowing that low tech stuff, like their handwriting and their how to write their numbers. I mean, how to respond to literature on paper and, in cursive. I mean, do you feel like that's still an important?
Absolutely. Because there are, I mean, as technologically sophisticated as society's getting, there are still times that a kid is going to need to give a signature,
Hmm.
and they're not going to do it on a computer.
Right.
There are still times that, learning your letters is as much about learning the alphabet as it is learning about your hand-eye coordination
Hmm.
and getting muscle memory and all the things that young kids are still developing up through grade 3, grade 4
Yeah.
on that.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, technology is very entertaining, but it doesn't replace going out to a playground.
Right.
It doesn't replace getting in a science lab and
Hmm.
doing a science experiment.
Hmm.
It doesn't replace, you can't get YouTube to tie your shoes.
And it doesn't replace teachers.
And technology will never.
Sorry. Can you just hit the mouse? I don't mean to interrupt. I was worried I'm going to stop
Oh.
recording. Okay.
Technology will never replace teachers.
Good.
It just won't happen.
Okay. And then describe the ethical and legal issues that are a concern in your job.
Probably two biggies. One is technology has become so pervasive. What used to be bullying on the playground is now moving in to the cyber world.
Hmm.
When I was a kid years ago, you go out to the playground, you get beat up, all that. Now, he says, she says, it's on Twitter, it's on my Facebook account. I can't believe she said that about me and so kids today have a lot more areas that, bullying can take place.
Hmm.
I wish we had, a generation of parents that were as concerned about monitoring that, but I'm not sure that I'm totally convinced we do. So, the cyberbullying issue, I think, is a big one. And second is just teaching kids about their digital footprint. And this may be more appropriate at middle and high school. Just the fact that whatever you put out on the internet, no matter what you use, it's there and it's going to stay there.
Hmm.
And it's going to stay there forever on that. Because I just saw a survey that employers now, I think they said 67% of them check applicants' Facebook accounts, Twitter accounts, and they're looking there. And so I think, instructing kids or helping them make good choices in what kind of a digital footprint they're leaving out on the internet is real important. And making sure that they're aware that if I post a picture that I'm not proud of, and then I say, oh, I'm going to take it off, it's not off. It's not off. It can be found.
Yes.
And all of that. And I think they don't quite understand that. So I think it's our job, one of our big jobs as educators, is to help them realize that and understand that and help them make good decisions on that.
Absolutely. Now, in considering current trends and issues in distance education in technology, what theological issues or faith-based issues do you see Christians facing if this is applicable?
I'll be real frank. I don't think educating our kids is a faith initiative. I mean, whether they're Christian, Muslim, Jewish, we have to educate our kids for the world they're going into. If there are religious or ethical issues that someone wants to make, I think that's their prerogative, that's their right. But from an education standpoint, I don't think we can have the luxury of saying, we're not going to make sure you know what's going on in this area, this area, this area, based on, a theological belief, because they're going to do it.
Yeah.
They're going to do it.
Exactly.
And so, and I guess I wouldn't want to be quoted as a theological expert, but from an educator standpoint, all kids, no matter race, creed, color, whatever, they need to know certain things for the world that they're going into.
Yeah, exactly. And what advice do you have for a future professional entering the distance education or educational technology fields?
Be open.
Okay.
Be innovative. Be creative. But always remember the first and foremost goal and whatever is the students. Everything else is second in line. The students are always first. So any decisions you make, any trends you see, your first lens should be, how is this affecting my students' education and how I am working with them in the classroom? Always the student.
Perfect. Thank you.
Did I give good answers?
You did. Good job. Thank you, Randy.
Sure.
I'm going to have to